All right, deep dive, phase one. This is going to cover both part one, part two of the videos that I have posted on my choppers charts. We're going to kind of go into some more of the nitty gritty details of phase one. So in phase one, part one, I talk about finding your instrument, your time frame, and your session. This is really important. Finding your instrument. So this is going to be the instrument you're going to start building your playbook on. You may actually start with one and then find out as you get going it doesn't work. That's okay. It's just going to set you back a little bit. No problem. I started with MES. It was one I felt I could trade. The reason I picked MES was it has some good volatility. It's not as volatile as NQ or MNQ, but not as slow as MYM. So I kind of wanted something in the middle, and I picked MES, and I did that because I trade the New York session mostly. Okay, I trade the 4 hour, so I do swing all my trades, but I'm going to enter my trades. I'm going to be awake during the New York session, and that's when I want to be entering trades. And so that's why I picked MES. I wanted something active when I was awake. I also know that MES goes to sleep at night for the most part, and when I go to sleep. So it worked out really well. Um, as a swing trader, I wanted something that would be quiet when I'm sleeping, active when I'm awake. So that was one of the reasons for that. Now, when I first started this phase one and I started getting into this, I actually back tested the 1 hour time frame. I was so ready to just get into this and do the 1 hour time frame. I thought it was a great time frame. You can intraday trade it, and if you got a really good trade, you can turn it into a swing trade. You could actually go from the 1 hour, if you got a really good trade, just kind of start monitoring on the 4 hour and just kind of day trade it or swing trade it. So those were some of my reasonings before it, but you want to find your instrument. You want to find that instrument that's going to work for you. Uh, if you're trading the London session, maybe you want something that's more active during the London time zone. Again, it's you're going to have to figure this out yourself. This is kind of a little maybe chat GPT it or something of that sort. Kind of dig in. You want your time frame. Your time frame being, are you going to trade the 5 minute? You're going to trade the 15 minute, the 1 hour, the 30 minute. Um, any of those time frames will be you need to figure that out. And I kind of go by that by when can I trade? Like say, let's just say you work a shift and your shift starts at noon. New York opens at 9 for you, 9:30, and you can trade that little bit of time before you go to work. Maybe you want to trade the 5 minute. You could probably get a couple trades in. Maybe the 1 hour if your work allows you to check your trades. That way, if you get into a trade at work, you can check them. So you got to kind of think about that. Like, what's your lifestyle like? What's happening? And find a time frame that can do that. Can you check your phone regularly? If you can check your phone pretty regularly, a 1 hour might be pretty good for you. If you can't, you want to find a 5 minute or 15 minute and find a time frame you can trade. Maybe it's just the New York or the London Open or the Asian session or something. You just have a small window, 4 or 5 hours, lower your time frame, get something that you can fit in there, get a couple trades in, maybe a 1 or 2 trades a day, and then your off times you can just spend in back testing and learning. And then find your session. I've kind of been saying this all along. Find your sessions: the New York session, the Asian session, and the London session. You want to find your session. There's a lot of, I know things like gold moves pretty good in London session. Occasionally we'll get a move on in the Asian session. It'll move in the New York session. I know gold moves in the London session because I wake up to moves already happened. So you, so kind of figure out what those are. That's what's going to help you start getting in and finding your playbook. So phase one is all about experimentation. It's all about, it's such a fun phase. And you can kind of come back to this. Let's say you already got your playbook. Let's say you're kind of like, oh, okay, he's talking about something I don't need anymore. But then you decide you want to do the bounce play. You want to add a playbook to your repertoire. This is where you go. You've already got your instruments. You already got your time frame. You already got the beginnings of it, but you're wanting to find a new playbook. This is kind of where you go. This is your experimenting phase. This is where you go and you just throw everything at it and you're going to tag it. So we're going to look at taking some trades. We're going to look at what to do after we take a trade, journaling the trade, tagging the trade, screenshots, and then kind of do a little quick brief at the end. We're going to do a brief rundown on reviewing information after you've gotten some information to help create your playbook. So we're going to get in this. In our most of my sessions, we've been doing MES in 2024. And I just been kind of trying to get a trade once a session on the 4 hour. So we're going to go ahead, jump in there. And I went down to the 1 hour. I wanted to see what could happen on the 1 hour. I left off where we left off. I take it back. I jumped a day or two just to make sure I knew what I was doing. So I don't trade the 1 hour. I really do want to. We're currently at all-time highs. We're starting to get this laser show down here of trend lines because of all-time highs. So yeah, let's just go through. We're going to take a couple. Hopefully we get at least, I'm hoping for at least 2 or 3 trades, but it's kind of hard when we're at all-time highs. You're going to hear some terms that I use, not probably so typical. This is walk the line. This is a walk the line of small tiny candles. I call them all Twizzlers. So let's look ahead. I'm already set up. So I told you I trade New York time, so I'm up on the charts at 6 a.m. I'm off the charts by 6 p.m. And that's kind of how I negotiate this because I can take a trade throughout the day. I got this 1 hour chart. We're going 2 times, 5-minute pace. So so just so you know what the pace is like. And this is going to be kind of new to me too, because like I said, I trade the 4 hour, much different movement. So yeah, it'll be a little different for me. Now I'm going to do this. Please mute your microphones. So I got right here, we're walking the line up. If I get a break up here, I'm gonna refer to that as a bounce play. That fits my book. So we're gonna do a stop here. I do stop entries on all mine. I like that. I just like to pause it. I like to say I want to enter here. Here's where my stop loss is going to be. One contract's 102. I have a 20K trading budget. Because this is a bounce play off of a all-time high, I think I will go in with 2 contracts. We'll go with 1%. And I want to make sure I got one there. So let's do that. Let's see what happens. So this is a bounce play for me. This could also just drop right down. I'm just kind of aiming for the top here. It's a bounce play for me. It's also an all-time high play. So we'll just see what happens here. Watch it go down now that I thought it was going to go up. Yeah. All right. We'll kill that. We're not using that, obviously. This trend line did not have enough data, nor does it have enough, you know, 2 touch points isn't enough for me to hop in on that one. So we're going to remove that guy. And let's see what happens here. Getting close to the end of the day, probably don't really want to be getting into a trade where it, yeah, we're only got another couple hours here. Not moving. You can see how the Asian session moves. Would be the Asian session, and it's just still. That's why I do MES, so that when I swing trade, I have a trade open overnight. I have to worry about it very little. So we'll go jump into the next day. That puts me at 6 a.m. It's like we breached that high again. We come back down here, and it's looking like we're possibly got another bounce play all-time high. I'm going to go up above. Let me blow this up for you guys a little bit. I'm going to take my entry above this wick. I want to clear this wick. We got a little rejection off of this trend line. This is what I'm looking at. We also got 1, 2, 3 touch points, so this would be the 4th touch point on this. If this blows up, that'll be pretty good. My risk for 2 contracts, 155. Get a little gutsy here. Let's go with 3. I'm risking just over 2%. So let's do that. See what happens. Of course it goes down. Look at that. I am not with it. And that was a bad miss. Look at that. 1, 2, 3. 3 touch points. Huge break. Man, that would have been a good catch going down, wouldn't it? So these are things I'm trying to do. Slow down. You're just trying to experiment. Okay, I'm trying to experiment on this. We're trying to build a playbook. And so there's no cheating here. We're trying to figure this out. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back to this candle. Oops. We'll go back to this candle. Okay. And we're back at 6 a.m. We have that. We know it's going down. And this isn't about winning or anything. This is about taking trades. So I want to take and just, I'm going to do 1 contract sell. I'm going to put it underneath that wick. I'm going to put my stop up here because I don't have a downward trend line. So per Tori's rules, there's no downward trend line. You really can't take a trade. But I'm practicing. I'm experimenting. And we got to realize that this is just for experimenting. We're just trying to figure out how the thing works. Oops. Hang on. Back up. I'm sorry. I made a mistake here. I want to keep everything to 1 contract. I'm so used to back testing my phase 4 and adding contracts. I don't care about money. This is phase 1. So remember that. I'm gonna mention it again. Phase 1, 1 contract. Don't worry about the money. We're all focused on technique. I'm probably gonna forget this again because I'm in phase 4. Phase 4 is where you focus on the money. You've already learned all your technique, and now you're trying to just use that technique and develop your trade management. So we got a good run, 7 a.m. in the morning. We're getting a little bit of a drawback. The question is, do I want to do, I have a support resistance level here that gets hit quite a bit. And then I got one here. We broke through this trend line here. So I think I'm going to want to take profit here because I don't want to miss that profit. So you can do that because I don't have a trend line. Or you can wait, I could wait for a point B. If this doesn't come down here and it creates me a point B, I might create a trend line and get rid of that. Again, I don't have a trend line, so I'm just making rules up as I go. I'm just experimenting. I'm just trying to figure things out. So I just move my stop to this point, and we'll see what happens. Oh, I didn't kill it fast enough. I was going to do a steep trend line. All right. So we got in, we got out. This was an experiment around an all-time high. So we want to record that now. We want to come in and we want to say I had a safety line, a stop loss here. I entered here and I had a take profit exit here. So I can go through here. I already built templates. So I have stop loss. I have an entry. And then that one was a take profit. So now I know what happened. I want to get as much of this picture as I can. We'll come up here, hit trade notes, trade. Now I got what happened here, and I'm going to sit here and say, trying an all-time high play with no downtrend line. Use the all-time high for risk safety line, because we didn't have a safety line, so I got to know where did I figure out my risk. Trailed stop. A lower trend line. Enter. And then right here, you can just take a nice little picture. If you're using TradeZella, it's going to take this picture right here. You get a good picture of everything that was going on. You can see where you put your stop loss, your entry, your take point. I don't have a playbook, so I'm building my playbook. So now I want to come in here and I want to look at I want to look at what happened here. So we had a trend line, 1, 2, 3, 3-point trend line. This trend line was pretty tight, so gap was tight. We had over a week's worth of data, and everything else there looked good. my entry was candle open, and then I set previous wick entry. So I set basically where this wick broke it, that's where I set my entry. Yes, you're just looking to get some reps. You're looking to experiment. This is all about experimentation. Phase one is you just you're trying to learn the charts, learn how things move, learn how things are going, take some reps, and then record it. That's the biggest keys. Make sure you record it. And it doesn't matter. I mean, if you feel like you're cheating, there's no cheating. There's no right or wrong because it's all experimentation. We're just trying to get a handle on this. So this is candle reaction. Candle was full after break. So after the broke out, it was a full candle. It was a strong candle, obviously. Overall trend was an uptrend. So the macro trend, we were with it. And it was micro trend was up. Okay. Pattern. So this is just trying to figure out the pattern of the instrument before. So I'm going to sit here, I'm looking at this, and I think we were walking the line of I count the all-time high as a support resistance level. And so we were just kind of walking along. We took a little dip. We kept walking along this all-time high. So this is what I see walk the line at the support resistance level. Yeah. So there, I've tagged things. You can make your own tags. You can, I'm just kind of throwing things out there. This is what I did when I did my initial phase one. This is what made sense to me. You can have your trade management items. I'm really not too keen on trade management. I'm gonna just mainly be following the system of the trend line, the safety line, and stuff like that. But for this sakes, I could have this in my in there, and I can start gathering information on what did I do for that. So we had our stop loss at a support resistance level. Where trade management, I'm going to say it was at candle because I trailed down above a previous candle. And I want to change that because I have with candle and take profit sets because I set a take profit down here at that support resistance level. And so now I'm tracking these things that I need. So we'll continue going. See if we can get one more trade in. And then we'll go over some data and stuff. Now that I got that screenshot, I don't need all this. I can come through, I can reset my lines. This one might be movable. But you kind of want to just, when you're tagging stuff, you want to just kind of look at everything you can. What was I tagging? Are you paying attention to your support resistance levels? Maybe you need to check and say, is it a strong one or is it a weak one? So I have two, the dashed lines are points of control. They're not as strong yet. Then once they start getting hit multiple times, then I turn them into a true support resistance level. So some of the things I do. I'm going to move that to all-time high again. Now we broke, we've come down, we're hitting this level for a third time. I'm kind of expecting this to go up, but I don't have a point B. Where are we at? We're at 12 o'clock. Let's jump to the next day. Ooh, that worked out good. Look at that. You guys get a lot more plays in the 1 hour than I do in the 4. Can't imagine what you 15-minuters do. I know, and sometimes I'm listening to chats on the 4-hour candle, and I'll have one candle play, and people will be like, "Oh, I got a play here," and then 30 minutes later, "Oh, I got another play here," and my candle's hardly moved. And these people are trading the 5-minute. Just blows me away. So what do we got here? We got 1, 2, not much data. We came up, we rejected. This is a really good rejection point. I need to adjust this guy. It's getting awfully tight to here. This is now a 2 touch point. So in order for this to be a play for me, I want the support resistance. But I know this because I already have a system. This is really hard for me to go backwards and say I don't have a system. How do I do this? Just do what you got to do. But mark it. If you took a 2 touch point play and it didn't have a support resistance level, maybe tag that. Did your play have, was there a support resistance level incorporated in your play? Holy cow, that went fast. I don't even know what to do. Let's back it up. 1, look at that. 2. All right, I'm going to slow that speed down a little bit. We're going to take a trade. Again, this is all experimentation, one contract only. I'm looking at this. I already know it's going to be a good trade. It already took off. But I'm going to play this as I would normally want to play it. And I want it to hit the support resistance level. So I'm going to come down just below that. My risk for this would be $177. So I'm okay. I'm within my 2%. I could actually bump that up to the top there. There's my 1%. So I'm within 1%. I love 1%. So we're going to do that. I also know we got support resistance level down here. So maybe I want to try and take profit again right here. So now I'm risking 200 to make 160. That's not very good. So let's leave that. I think this time I'm going to follow the trend line. We're going to let this break. We're going to follow the trend line. If I get another point B, I'll create a steeper trend line. So this is the things that I'm thinking about when I'm doing this. These are not necessarily teaching you how to trade, but how to backtest. I think we can speed that back up again. I'd really like another good point B. I'd love to be able to come in here. Right now, that's the steepest I can go. Let's see if it hits it. See if it matches it. Also, right now, here's my candle. Here's my safety line. I can take and reduce that risk down. When I'm using a safety line, even if it's this safety line, the G, just a little trick. I like to stay to the next biggest candle. So my next move will be this candle here, but it's obviously climbing back up, so I need to wait for it to get back down, if it comes back down. So right now, that's kind of why I chose this point. See what happens. We're at the end of the day, I'm going to swing trade this. This is the neatest thing about backtesting this way. I'm going to swing trade. Everybody's always worried, should I hold it? Should I not hold it? I think this is something you should have a tag for. If you're doing the 1 hour and you're thinking about swinging it, have a tag for swinging. You're going to get to the end of your day and you're going to say, okay, I need to jump to next morning. Was I knocked out? If you were knocked out, then you want to note it. If you weren't knocked out, then you want to note that too. So that you start tracking how many times you get knocked out on a swing trade overnight, so that you can have more confidence. The truth of the matter is, if you're new, I can say this because I know this. If you're trading New York session, you're trading MES or MNQ or MYM, and you're swinging it overnight, chances of you getting knocked out are slim. You're going to get knocked out a lot less than you will get knocked out, because it doesn't move that much. We got knocked out. Let's mark that up. We got in below this safety line. So we got in here. We had a stop loss here. We exited. Remember, we moved down to just above this candle. So right about here. So I have stop loss, exit, entry. If I go here, I can see that we took a $158 loss. So now I'm going to go record this, trade notes, short, and I'm going to say 2 touch points. Oops. 2 touch points short after support resistance level. I get really good at abbreviations when I go through this, because it's a lot of typing otherwise. But I want this part here, this journal. This journal has nothing to do with your emotions. It has nothing to do with any of that stuff. You don't need details like, oh, I got in at 5210 and 5200. None of that stuff matters. It really doesn't, unless you're counting ticks. If you're trying to say, I want to try and take it, I want my stop loss to be X amount of ticks, and I want my take profit to be X amount of ticks, then you do need to know all those numbers. I don't. I go by dollar amount and kind of figure it out. I'm going to say trade went well, chose to make it a swing, and got stopped out. So there we go. We got that. Let's take a picture. Boom. I always reduce my screen size. I want to see as much as I can see on that for future. We're going to go to the tags. We're going to tag, we had a 1, 2 touch point break. We had 1, 2, so I had what I call this is gap before points. So I had 1 point, this was the main point, and I had just a big huge gap before it happened. And I had over a week. Entry after pullback, after main candle, after pullback, before main candle, break of support resistance. So I had a break of support resistance. I had a candle open, was what candle was open when I was in it. And that's good. Candle reaction. We had a strong candle. We did not have a full candle. Overall trend, we're still with actually I was going against the macro trend was up. I was going against it, and the micro trend was down. I'm sorry. Micro trend was up, and I took a short. My pattern was a, I call this a bump and run. Do I have that in here? Probably not. Let's call that the retest pause before break. Because we had a little retest and pause before it broke on down. So this little point right here before it breaks, all this action right here before it breaks is a big deal. I notice here I had lower highs, and I only had one, so I'd be a lower high. It's not a lower low, so I'm going to say lower high equal low. But you can check that. Like, do I got higher highs, higher lows? All these things make a difference in how you're approaching those trend line breaks, and you can keep them. And then record everything. You want to record your losses. You need to record everything. Your losses, your wins, your just really poopy ones, your good ones, whatever. Again, try not to focus on the dollar. That's it. All right. We got 5:45. Let's go back here. Let's get the last thing in. We're going to do some review of information. And then you're looking to get, in phase one, you want to get 20 to 30 trades. Get 20 to 30 trades in. And go back, and we want to study those trades. We'll want to look at our journals. So I can come back here. This is what we're trading right here. I can go here and look at session results. We took 2 trades in March. Those are the 2 that we took. We can see what our overall, what we're hitting. None of this is neat, but it's not 100% what we want. We're not really looking at this right now. Win rate's good to look at. We're mostly trying to gather information. We're Thomas Edison built the light bulbs 1,000 times before he built one that worked. And that's kind of what you're doing here. You're just building trades, 1,000 trades, to get that playbook that says, oh, now I have one trade book. I have a trade book that I like. And then phase 2 is where we prove that. So we'll come here to our trades. We had 2 trades. We'll open this one. And we'll open this one. So now we can come back, double click here. I can take and look at my trade. I can take a little bit bigger look. I can, I could take and save this and PDF it or however, and take my markup tool and mark things up and note things and scribble on it and just whatever I think I see. Things you want to look at, like we're hit the all-time high. We got this great reversal push off of that all-time high and shot down. We kind of walked the line, came back up, shot back down. We got in on that. And I could have got in here. I chose to get in here. It's all because I already know more. But it came down. What could I have done instead of getting knocked out here? Could I have done anything to help me get out? I mean, what if I took this steeper trend line and I was trailing it? I could have been right in here, took less of a loss. So these are the things you kind of want to look at when you're reviewing your trades. start really picking them apart. Just start like looking at them, winners, losers. I I always suggest go to your winners first. I always like going to my winners first. Go to those, pick those apart. Get a good idea of what made these win. Start looking for patterns. You got 20 or 30 trades. Let's just say 50% of them are winners. You're going to go through 10 trades, 10 winning trades, and you're going to start looking at things to see patterns that are repeatable. And that way you can just continue to repeat and replay those things. And mark them up and note them. And so I say start with your winners first, because you want to see things that are, like this little rejection up here, this little three Twizzler rejection. Those are things I look at. I look at what are the candles telling you? What does the price action tell you? I had a session on price action. If you go to my YouTube channel, that video's on there, and I talk about different things that make up price action. Start learning to see that price action. Okay, so get your winners done, then go to your losers, because you don't want to say, oh, well, I had this, so maybe I need to not trade if it does this. No, because that's repeated in all your winning trades. Now you don't want to erase that. Now you want to look for things that are completely different, or maybe how I could have saved money by trailing a steeper trend line. All these things are things that you want to get out of your losing trades. How could I have improved the loss? Is there a way I could have maybe lost less? Maybe not get hit out as early. Let's say you're trailing too tight and you get knocked out early. So you can go back and say, well, maybe I need to give a little bit more room here or there. Maybe you're getting hit. Maybe you're doing tick size. You're on the 15-minute and you're saying, I got 120 tick loss, and I'm going to do a 200 tick win, but you get knocked out more than you get hit wins. So you can start adjusting that tick size. These are the things you're experimenting. This is actually kind of fun to me. I kind of nerd out on this. You get to just really experiment with what's working, what's not. Let's say you're maybe a little further down the line. You're not a beginner trader. You've got a playbook. And like I said, you want to go and maybe somebody told you something about support resistance levels that you didn't know about. And you're like, wow, that sounds really interesting. Do you want to waste your live money account to experiment with? Or would you rather experiment first for free and then forward test on your live account? Just a question. There are some people who feel like they're going to do better if they forward test something on their live account rather than back test. And that's good. So those are things I want, you're going to look at. Now all these tags, what happened to all these tags? We're going to come here to reports. What time is it? Might go a little over. You're going to come to reports and tags. And so now you're starting to get your tags. You got all your tags. You got how many plays I had. So I got 11 plays against the micro trend, and I got a 30% win rate. Something tells me I better not do that anymore. Oh, you know what? Let's go here. You're going to see there we go. Those were my live trade tags, which tells me I better quit going against the micro trends. So we got trade management. We did a couple tags there. Here, I've only got four or five trades, so you can start seeing what you got. Two touch point trend line break. We've had 2 trades. They both have been losses. 3 touch point. We only had 1. So you want this trade count needs to be up there. You want for this to be something that you can actually make a judgment call on, you want it to have 20, minimum 20 trades. The more, the better. If you're trying to say, oh, well, I better not take any 2 touch point breaks because I'm losing money on 2 trades, you don't have enough data. You want the data to be 20 trades or more to be accurate. And we're not going to find that here because I don't have that many trades. So here you can go to this tag group, you can go to this tag group, you're getting all your information. Overall trend. You know, we got three with the micro trend up. We got 3, we made money. Patterns. You can see what patterns, those candle patterns that I was seeing before the play. Which ones of those are working? Like I said, you need about 20. You want this trade count to be 20. And then that's going to tell you, you know, a win factor. Some things like trend line, you can look at this part here. This may or may not matter. You might say, you know what, I'm not taking any trades that have this. So maybe I don't need to worry about that. But you're going to start seeing patterns and stuff. And then you can start putting these things together and you're going to build a playbook. And I'm going to share my three touch point breakout playbook. Here's my rules. This is my playbook for a 3 touch point. Now you can do this one of 2 ways. You can just write down one specific rule for your 3 touch point play. You can say, this is what I want in my setup. It has to be this. And it has to be this. Your setup is the, what does it look like prior to breakout? What is the market saying? What is happening? And what is your risk? Then you're going to need trade management rule. And this could be one rule. Exit at support resistance level. Exit at 150 ticks. Exit when it crosses trend line. These could be just one rule, or you can be like me, make life a little more difficult for yourself. I have a rule for my setup. I know what this means. This has a bigger meaning than what you see written here, but I want to retest or pause prior to break. Basically, I want to see, I have several different patterns of quality reversals, either prior to breakout or after breakout. Typically after breakout, it's just going to be a retest of the trend line. I have an acceptable, on a 3 touch point only, I have an acceptable no retest at entry. In other words, we got a straight break. That's acceptable for me in some cases. They all have to be low risk. Nothing over 2%. In fact, I prefer all of my risks to be about 1 to 1.5. I trade a $20,000 account, so that's $200 to $300. I want no more than that, because I feel comfortable losing I still do not feel comfortable losing $400, which is 2%. I don't feel comfortable. That if I got a $400 risk on the table, I'm literally watching that whole 4-hour candle for 8 hours because I'm scared of it until I can get that risk down below 200. So I don't do it. I have additional confluences. So if I have a support resistance level at the trend line breakout, I want to know if it was a full candle after the trend line or a strong candle. These could be tagged, but I kind of want them as part of confluences in taking a trade. Double confirmation, I guess. My trade management is because I'm a swing trader. There's a lot that defines it. if it's against the trend, I need to exit at a defined point, or exit against the trend, I need to trail the candle. I'm not going into details about this because this is not completely Tori Trend's teaching. With the trend, I'll trail a candle. With the trend, I can add contracts at defined points. And this is something I already know before I'm getting into trade. I pretty much know what these defined points are and which one I'm going to be taking. If I get in and the trend goes sideways, I hold until the safety line's breached. Once the safety line's breached, get out, get reset up, find a new trade. If the structure breaks down after exit, I exit after a new point B. I won't go into details on that. And then move my stop loss to the action line after 3 candles max. So those are things that, these are trade management rules that I've made, and I didn't make these rules until phase 4. Before that, it was all experimentation and a lot of tagging. All that tagging brought me to these rules. All that tagging and all that practice, journaling, brought me to these rules. So that's my 3 touch point playbook. We just went through everything. That's the deep dive. We're at the top of the hour.